international environment. Poland has been and will remain your trustworthy and accountable ally, and we know this commitment is fully reciprocated. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to both of you for your statements. I now look forward to discuss the Norwegian-Polish or the Polish-Norwegian relationship. But I would like to start with Mr. Sikorski. I think it was in December I read an op-ed written by you. Where you started, it was called Never Again. And you started by telling us what keeps you awake at night. Would you care to share your nightmare with us here today?
Well, remind me which particular one I was... there are so many and the number seems to be growing.
I think it was the rule-based international order, and we can't start this conversation without, commenting a little bit on what's going on in the beginning of this year. It's been some strange comments from the other side of the Atlantic. You wrote about that this international order that, was shaped by the memories of 2 world wars and Holocaust.
Well, in Poland we are mostly Catholic, so we know that human nature is fallible, but and that we are sinners. But it's still nice to have the 10 Commandments as an aspiration.
Yeah. Exactly.
And this is how we think of the rules-based international order.
That's good.
There have been many breaches over decades, but it was still a reference point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now some people say that we don't even need it as a reference point, and that's a problem. We all know that the UN Security Council, for example, doesn't reflect the distribution of power in the world.
No.
Not a single African country, not a single Latin American country is a permanent member. India, 1.5 billion people, not on it. And, with the invasion of Ukraine, a permanent member of a body that was charged originally with maintaining the peace, uses its membership as an immunity from prosecution for an act of blatant aggression.
Yeah.
So sure, the UN is in danger of going down the route of the League of Nations. But that should not be a pretext for dismantling it altogether. Also because so many UN agencies do sterling work, UNHCR, World Food Programme, and many others. And also if you are proposing an alternative, the alternative should be better than the original. And that's not what we have at the moment.
No, that's true. Espen, would you care to comment a little bit? Are we into
as a predominantly Protestant country, because we traditionally take the scripture literally. But the other part of Protestantism is that you're actually supposed to interpret yourself. So there's some space for discussing what it actually says. But I agree with you. I think we all knew that this was never perfect. This was also very central to Carney's very important speech in Davos, that it was a good order for many of us, but it was never perfect. I mean, that's good to say. But I mean, there are institutions that came out of that Pax Americana or Global Liberal Order, which are worth preserving and adapting and modernizing. The World Trade Organization, either you have it or you don't, but if you don't have it, that's very costly for the world. You need to deal with that, but you also need to engage with are there some rules that has to be changed? We need to keep the UN, but also develop the UN. And the three core principles is basically, thou shall not invade other countries. That's a good rule, in my view. Thou shall try to cooperate economically when you can. And there shall be human rights in all countries. That's never been perfect, but the principles are not bad. These are good principles.
Don't change borders by force.
Yeah.
by force.
Yeah, the principle is good, yeah. Because and the connection actually between that principle and the principle of human rights is that there shall be respect for human rights within the borders, and then the borders doesn't matter so much. Far from reality, of course, but these are good principles. But we need, in the world we live in now, to really engage with how we can not only preserve, but also invent and modernize and further develop after 81 years after the Second World War.
Yeah. Sikorski mentioned that Poland is looking north. And as Europe adapts to more fragmented and contested security environment, how central is regional cooperation in different shapes, but most definitely in Northern Europe, to Poland's overall security thinking, Sikorski?
Well, we traditionally have won and lost most, if not all, our wars on land. Whereas your fortes are at sea and in the air.
Exactly.
Which means that we are complementary. And this northern dimension of our policy is that we are natural allies. So for us, the sense of threat from a Russia that has adopted an imperialist state ideology, for us, it's not an option, it's existential. This is what binds us together. And when I